Hey everybody, Alvinator here, Mulligans and Hackers, and today on the pod we've got Taylor from
Yeah,
Rivl
Taylor.
Golf. How you doing, pal?
I'm doing good. How are you? Glad to
I'm
be here.
well.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Hey buddy, no problem. This was I was looking forward to this one because again, there's a lot of things in this whole, you know, because you're a direct to consumer brand, a
Hmm.
lot of that type of stuff. I'm really interested in seeing how it works and how it
Hmm.
goes. So before we get into that though, let's get into your background in golf. Like where did you start golf and how did golf become a part of your life?
Yeah, so it's golf. I started golfing when I was 10. My grandparents golfed, and when I was 11, my dad took me out every day in the summer. And I got a hole in one, my first hole in one, after my dad bought me my first driver. So I thought, well, I'm probably going to be pretty good at this. They had me in the magazines as like recognition for a hole in one, and so I just stuck with it. First job when I was 16 was at a golf course, Medina Country Club. They held the Ryder Cup there. Very nice golf course. I was a bag boy and a caddy. And then graduated high school, and I went to a professional golfers career college in Temecula, California, which is a trade school basically to teach you how to be within the golf industry, not necessarily just a golf pro, but anywhere within the golf industry. And from there, that took me to give me my first assistant golf professional job. And I kind of worked my way up to general manager of a golf course at the age of 25. And then COVID happened and I got laid off at the age of 27. And I happened to get a job from a member while I was just sitting on my couch for those 4 months during COVID, not doing anything, collecting a paycheck, bored out of my mind. And so I ended up taking the job. And it's a good job and it pays me well and it gives me a lot of free time. So that's kind of where Rivals started. I had a lot of free time. I was kind of boordish, and I was like, well, let's kind of start Rival, and Rival started from that.
So you didn't really play in like a amateur type of golf event.
I played in the IJGA, which is the Illinois Junior Golf Association, and then I played in high school as well. And
So
then my college, the trade school, every day. What we did was we went to school from 8 to 12, and from 1 to 5, we played golf 5 days a week. It was amazing. It was awesome.
yeah, so nothing to like a tour, like tournament
No,
type
no
type of golf.
tour. No, 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 not unfortunately. Well, it's okay. It just was that wasn't my past. I
Right.
was more of I'm more of like a business savvy type person. I am a decent golfer, but I was in my freshman sophomore year in high school. I was at the phase where my grandparents would drop me off at the club every day after school in the summer. And then junior, senior year of high school happened, and that kind of didn't happen anymore. So, I think in order to be a pro, you really have to be like buckled down, right? Like your
Right.
summers, your after school activities, they all have to be golf all throughout high school to kind of really get you to that super next level. And if you kind of aren't doing that, it's going to be a struggle.
Okay. So rival starts. Where does the idea come from? And your focus is on wedges right now. Like
Yes.
where does that model start forming itself in your mind to say, okay, this is something I really want to focus my energy on?
Hmm. So my buddy, he makes really good money, and he plays Vokies. And he's like a name brand snob, but he replaces his used Vokies with used Vokies because brand new Vokies are $200, and he doesn't want to spend $200 on new Vokies. I'm like in the golf industry since I was 10. I was a general manager. I managed golf shops. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? You're going to replace your used wedges with used wedges. The whole point in replacing your wedges is because you need new grooves so that you can get more spin, right? And so I'm like, there's got to be a better way than this. Because when I was in the golf industry, we were at the golf course level, we were purchasing golf clubs for what Vokies for 100, $110, reselling them for 180 to 199. Like, why can't we just cut out the golf store? Why can't we cut out the middleman? Why can't I get you the same quality product at half the price, but I'm going to sell it direct to you? Because that's the way everything is going nowadays, right? We've got Amazon, everybody buys things online, it's much cheaper, it's much more affordable, and it's still the same quality that you can get from the stuff you can buy in the store. That's really where Rival started.
Well, direct to consumer stuff is growing.
Mm-hmm.
even here, up here in Canada where we are, we've noticed, because up here in Canada, one of the direct consumer brands out of BC is Haywood Golf. And it's kind of
Uh-huh.
funny because my buddy Chris has Haywood wedges in his bag, and we were at the golf course literally not 3 weeks ago, and we were playing with a couple of kids, younger guys, maybe 19, 20, and one guy had a complete iron set of Haywood irons in his bag, and it's like that's direct to consumer, and we know those guys, right?
Uh-huh.
It's like that is becoming the thing now.
Oh, it
And
is.
I'll give you something personal here. Through this winter coming, I'm going to go do my fitting, and I'm going to because we're taking our game, maybe we'll say to another level where we're playing on the Alberta Golf Tour. Um, I'm going to get fitted for clubs, and when I select the iron set that I'm going to play for the next 10, 15 years, it is not going to be one of the big name brands. It is
Mm-hmm.
good. I've got a list of the direct to consumer brands, um, and I'm going to do my homework on them, and that's what I'm going to play. I'm not doing the TaylorMade, Callaway, Ping, Cobra. That's not my style.
Uh-huh.
I'm more of a smaller, we'll say smaller brand guy, but a direct to consumer guy. Somebody
Yeah.
that I can talk to and
Yeah.
say, hey, this is working or this isn't working. That's what I want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, brand name is important for people, but I mean, for some people, and it really shouldn't be. You should be focused on quality. And if you can get that same quality for 40% off, why wouldn't you? Unless you just are a brand name snob and want to have the TaylorMade or the Titleist or the Cleveland or Callaway. That's okay if that's what you want, but I think there's a lot of people who want golf to be more affordable. Golf is ridiculously expensive right
There
now.
it is,
You're talking
pal.
about $600 for a driver, $1,500 for a set of irons, $45 for a towel, $415 for a golf bag, $600 for a putter, $400 for wood. $200 for a wedge. It's insane. And like golf is like PJ's like, oh, let's bring more people into the game of golf by making it faster so we don't take out the flag stick or having people tee it forward and not use the term ladies tees anymore. And so people will, so it's easier for them to play. How do we make it easier for them to get into the game of golf by reducing the cost of golf, right? Like those prices are ridiculous to me. And honestly, that was another reason. Like I've always wanted to grow the game of golf. That was my mission in college, and I think this is a great opportunity to because there are a lot of DTC companies, but I don't, and we're all growing, and eventually some of these DTC companies are going to be the Titleist or the TaylorMade or the Cleveland or the Callaway of DTC, and our goal of Rival is to be one of those.
Yeah. I think that's our third rule. Mulligans and Hackers rule number three: golf is expensive, and it
Yeah.
is. And I mean, even for us, and Chris not so much, but me, I'm a definitely um, I cost is a big thing for me. When I go
Mhm.
to the golf course and it's $12 for a medium bucket of balls for the range, dude, that pisses me off.
I'm telling you, are you kidding me? $12? You know how much
Yeah,
they buy each one of those individual golf balls for? Probably about 10 to 15 cents,
I
maybe.
know, but to go and just pick up a bucket of balls to go to the range,
Yeah.
same thing. It's like fucking, you know, that's crazy. And again, so you buy a membership at a course, it's a couple of grand, whatever, right? And you can't get free range balls. You have to go and pay for balls, or you got to go pay for
Oh, really?
your cart. That doesn't come with a 2 grand membership.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Let's get more people into the game, right?
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know, and it does suck because I'll say it here, and this might be this might be a little controversial, but the game isn't for everybody,
Hmm.
right? And I
Yeah,
think
it's not.
I think they want it that way because they only want the people that have the money to play. And
Yeah.
if you don't have the money, well, then go find a different sport. And I
But
mean
why do you
that's
want
that's
people
kind of
to?
that's kind of a generalization, and people might be pissed off about that, but you know what? Have somebody who's on the lower middle class scale try to play golf.
Absolutely.
It
100%.
can't be a sport that they play all the time. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah.
It's one of those elite sports that you get to play once, twice a year, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, there's places around here where it's $115 to get 18 holes with a cart, right?
It's in season here. I'm in Palm Springs, so that's where a lot of the snowbirds come from Canada. In season here for a decent golf course, let's say in between an 8 and 12 o'clock tee time, 7 and 12 o'clock tee time, it's not less than $225. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Like all my golf pretty much happens in the summer when it's 115 degrees, which is miserable. But otherwise, I play like twilight times out here at these golf courses in season, and it's still about $100.
Yeah.
It's crazy expensive, and that's just to play the round of golf for 4 hours. I mean, you got to buy all this equipment to get into the game of golf too. You
You
got to
bet.
buy the golf balls. Golf balls are really expensive too. And I'm telling you right now, there's some DTC companies that are charging the same price as the major brands do in
Yes.
the stores,
Yes.
and they are making much more money than like Titleist is selling a golf towel to the store for X price, and the store sells it for $45. These other DTC companies are selling their golf towels for $45 as well. And I know there's like the money's allocated differently, but they're making a whole lot more, right? So my question is Titleist TaylorMade Cleveland, they're going to open their eyes one day and realize, hey, we make so much more money when we sell to our customers from our websites, right? Are these retail stores going to be around for a long time? How long are they going to be around for? Maybe you'll have your PGA Superstore, or maybe you'll have stuff in your pro shops, but these smaller mom and pop shops, I don't know if they're going to be around for much longer. Kind of like Amazon kind of destroyed a lot of these
You
mom
bet.
and pop shops.
You bet. And again, internet is the future, and that online
Mm-hmm.
stuff is so prevalent right now in everything, everyday life, and
Yep.
yeah, there's definitely a balance coming up here, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll see how that plays out. But let's get back to Rival here. So you have the
Yeah.
idea for Rival. Um, you're going to get directly into wedges. So how does that process of okay, I have the idea for this, and this is what I want. I want to start this wedge company. So how do you reach out to? I mean, you don't make them. Obviously, you don't have a shop in your garage, but
Correct.
you do
Yeah.
this. So how do you outsource that, and how do you find it? How does the sample process go to say, okay, this looks good. This is what we're going to give to our customers. This is what we're
Yeah.
going to offer to our customers. And then you've got to come up with price points and all that type of stuff. Give me a little bit of an idea on how you say you go from, okay, I have this idea to
Yeah.
actually getting the physical product in your hand.
Yeah, so it's not as hard as you would think. Basically, you just come up with the idea, and what I do, at least what we do over here at Rivals, what we do is we reach out to 10 manufacturers, right? And I have each 10 of these manufacturers. I tell them my idea, and this is what I want, and this is my logo. And what they do is I have all 10 of them send me wedges, right? So I have 10 different wedges from 10 different manufacturers, and I take them to a really nice simulator to get them tested on, right? A very high-end $50,000 simulator to test them on. Whichever one comes out with the best numbers, that's the most consistent, that feels the best, that's the one that we went with. And we kind of are doing that with everything else now. So we have towels now, we have putters now, and we have golf bags now. But that's what we do. We go to 10 manufacturers, we have them send us their samples, and whichever one tests out the best and feels the best and plays the best, that's the one that we go with. And
Okay.
you'd be surprised. Some of these manufacturers have actually worked with some of the major brands in the past.
So you get that thing in your hand, you go, okay, we picked this one. So now how do you set up your business model on getting it to the consumer?
Yeah, right now we are organic growth. There is no advertising going into this because I would like to try to keep the prices down, and I want to grow inventory as well. So I'm not looking to be just a wedge company. I thought that that was a perfect place to kind of get into the market. But we're looking to be more of like a direct to consumer, one of the big brands where they sell everything golf, right? Where we're not packaging it together like some other the smaller companies will that have much cheaper products. They package their wedges together, or they package their irons and the drivers, the whole shebang together. Um, but yeah, we just what we did was just gonna organically grow this. I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, more focused on Instagram than anything, and just post every day of me using the wedge and people saying that, hey, the wedge can do this. It's $99. It's not 180. I see other people on Instagram using it and they post about it and they really like it. So let me give it a try. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We're kind of just organically growing it through Instagram and TikTok. And then eventually, once we have the full product line, we'll start to get into advertising because there's a lot of people we're not reaching. But I'm not interested in making a ton of money. I'm not interested in making a huge profit. Everything that we make goes back into purchasing more inventory. because I'm truly am about making golf more affordable for people. Because I don't want to buy these expensive golf clubs. I've been playing since I was 10. I grew up in country clubs. I've played high school golf. I went to golf college. I worked in country clubs. I don't want to spend that much money on clubs, and I can't imagine that a lot of other people want to, but they do it because they have to right now, or
Yeah,
because they're unaware of the DTC brands that are coming out that can provide the same quality as these major brands, but at like 40% of the cost.
yeah, I like the term big brand snob. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
And again,
uh-huh.
it's tough for parents getting their kids into it because they all want the best. They all want name shit, and
Uh-huh.
it's again it's golf is expensive, man. Uh,
Yeah.
just throwing this out there before we get into something else here.
Yeah.
That rival golf bag that I've seen you have on your site is
Yeah, right
absolute
there.
fire. Is absolute fire, by the way. That is
Appreciate it.
that is. I love that logo on there. That is
Yeah.
absolute fire. Absolute fire. Um, but
I'll tell you something about that logo. I was trying to come up with a brand name for it for 2 months. And I didn't eat, I didn't sleep. Everything I looked at the back of my protein things. I was like, what kind of name can I do for this? And basically, the goal was to become like rival our competitors in quality, but have like an unrivaled affordability. So I just took rival and took off the A, and it looked clean. And then we got some really cool font on it, and I think people really like it. I like
it,
it. I could be biased, but I really like it.
well, again, I saw it on the gram, and we'll get into Instagram here a bit in a sec. But I saw it on Instagram. I was like, that looks absolutely fabulous. And then I
Yeah,
saw the golf bag, and I'm like, it relates itself to that golf bag so fucking well.
yeah,
It's
appreciate
just
it.
that whole image thing. Like if you weren't a big brand snob and you were just into something, what it looks like, the
Yeah,
look, it's right there, right?
that's what we're going for. We don't want to come across as cheap or a knockoff or anything. The goal is to come across as something that people could see as a name brand and hopefully become a name brand at some point. A DTC name brand. So this is right. So this right here, do you know about our logo? What our logo represents?
Nope.
So I think this, and I could be biased, but I think it's the most relatable logo in golf for all of the golf brands, even more so than the major brands. So what do we try to get? We started with wedges, right? And so usually we're using a wedge around the green when we've missed the green. So when we've missed the green, what do we try to get? We try to get an up and down. And so I would always say up and down is a par. And so that's where this came from, up and
Up
down.
and
And I
down,
think
yeah.
it's so relatable. I think it's so
Soon,
relatable to golf.
soon as you talked about that and I saw the arrows, I was like, yeah, it's up and down.
Yep, exactly.
But um, like I find, and again, like, this is just a little, we'll do a little social media like
Yeah.
type blurb here inside of the pod. I find Instagram is the best. Not none of the other ones even comes close when it comes to networking.
Mm-hmm.
Like Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. You know, um, which one am I missing? Um, none of those. Like we're on all those platforms, and nothing even comes close to how you can network on Instagram.
Yeah, I agree.
Uh,
TikTok, I mean, you see all these accounts where they've got like 5,000 followers on Instagram, but 100,000 followers on TikTok. I don't find it like that on TikTok. I find it more of a tight-knit community on Instagram. Like
I
all
agree.
these people, I'm literally communicating with all these people every single day. On TikTok, I don't know if I just don't know, like 'cause I'm older now, TikTok started like after me. Like I don't know if it's because I just don't know how to work it properly or do it well, but I think more of the people that are in golf are fitted towards Instagram.
I just think we set up everything we've done in our entire process of having a podcast or even connecting with anyone. 100% of it has been done through Instagram.
Yeah.
We have
Hmm.
never set up a podcast through any other platform. We've never like did any of our like promoting or anything or like sponsorships or nothing has been everything 100% has been through Instagram.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah,
it's
I
just
agree. It's a lot more personal on
I think
Instagram for
so.
sure.
And I mean, granted, I'm older and I'm not really technically savvy, but as soon as somebody reaches out, you can tell if they're a bot or not. It's like
Uh-huh.
it's like instant. It's like, oh yeah, no, you can tell if somebody is real or not on Instagram. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I think so. And like on Instagram, on TikTok, I don't know. I think you get more followers faster, but I don't know how many of those followers are real. To be honest with
Exactly.
you, like I
Exactly.
just think that they're bots that TikTok is pushing on it so that it looks so that you stay on TikTok because you're getting more followers faster. But I never get engagement from any of those
Yeah.
things.
And I find myself like on all these other platforms, like we're a golf brand and we want golf content.
Uh-huh.
Um, Instagram is tailored to that to us. We don't get any like BS coming through our feeds on Instagram on Instagram.
Exactly.
You go to Twitter and you can block out and I'll take put TikTok in this vein. Um, dude, the political bullshit that you get in everything. Every scroll is like, I don't want to see this. This is not what I'm into. Like
Yeah. Uh-huh.
like I want golf content, and TikTok being a prime example. Like you can block out however many words you want, and they'll find a way to get it into your stream. It's like I don't want this shit. I'm not in.
Yeah.
This is outside of my golf sphere. I'll get this information somewhere else. I won't get it from TikTok, and I won't get it from Facebook. I'm going to do my own thing. So can I just get golf
Yeah.
related
That's all I want
content?
is golf.
And that's why I spend a lot of time on Instagram, because my feed is 100% golf. Where those
Hmm.
other platforms, it's like they have their agenda as well. I'm not into that.
So the best post I've seen recently on Instagram was the Golf Digest post for Scheffler and Rory versus
Yeah,
uh uh Kepka and
DeChambeau.
Yeah, DeChambeau. Insane. I think that's going to be the most watched golf event probably in a very, very, very long time.
See, and on our pod, we've stayed out of the pro golf sphere. We,
Uh-huh.
because my opinions on pro golf uh, probably aren't aligned with a lot of other people.
But do you have an opinion on that?
I can't stand Live. Like I hate what Live did to golf, because again, I'm new. Like I said,
Yeah.
I've only been in the golf sphere for 4 years. I've never really watched it. And as soon as I started watching it, because again, I don't watch other sports anymore. Like it's been a couple years since I've watched a baseball game, and it's been over a year since I watched a hockey game. I'm not into the pro sports thing,
Yeah.
because again, it's that whole money for your services that you don't live up to, and it just gets old, dude. I'm 50 years old. I've been in hockey my entire life.
Yeah.
I remember when guys would go out and take somebody's head off, getting paid 100 grand.
Yeah.
Now guys get paid $14 million and they can't lead their team to a Stanley Cup. I'm not into that type of
Yeah.
shit. And again, we can get deep into the why
Uh-huh.
this is. I
Uh-huh.
don't care, right? I'm old. I've watched this for too long, and it's old. So when I got into golf and I started watching golf, I'm like, you know what? Look at this. They've got it. They've got their tour. They got a Champions Tour. They've got a Ladies Tour. I'm going to get into this. And then literally the year after I get into watching golf, all these dudes break away, and you got
Yeah.
Greg Norman doing his, oh, we're going to do this, and I'm like, fucking money again,
Yeah.
right? And it really soured me. Like it
Yeah.
soured me to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm done watching this shit too. I will watch the
Hmm.
LPGA, and I watched the Champions Tour, because again, we've had a Champions Tour guy on our pod, and I like, again, Freddie Couples is still there. I like watching those guys play. So I
Yeah.
watch some of that, and the ladies are absolute fire. So
Hmm.
I like watching that. But the PGA thing, we'll probably do a podcast on this down the road somewhere, because the President's Cup is coming up, and we've got 3 Canadians on the international team, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about that. So I am going to watch that. But this whole Live versus PGA shit, I
Yeah.
am so not into it. Like so
Hmm.
far, like it, you know, if you go back to our first season of our podcast, I talked very highly of guys like Brooks Koepka and
Uh-huh.
Bryson DeChambeau being the future of golf, in my opinion, and a very uneducated opinion at the time, right? And they just take the money and run, and I'm like, well, f those guys.
Yeah.
And my personal opinion on it, let's just say it: if Liv wants to have their money league and go play, and you want the pro golf of the PGA, in my opinion, because again, I have a hockey background, so I saw the finale, I guess, of the NHL versus the WHA back in the day. You have a money league, and then you have the pro league. The money league will never last. So all the PGA has to do is cut off all ties with Liv. Don't bring any of their guys back except for the majors that they qualified for, like Masters and shit like that. Okay, you can come
Hmm.
back and play. That's the rules. But cut off all ties, and in 5 to 7 years, that will die, You don't have to bring those players back because, in my opinion, those guys that went over there, like John Rahm, Kepka, and DeChambeau, they're no
Yeah,
longer, in my opinion, top players in the world,
yeah.
right? Because they don't
Hmm.
play at the top level; they play in the money league, right?
Yeah, and they play in different type of games too.
Right. So I'm not into that. So somewhere down the line, me and Chris are going to start doing some pods on the pro golf, and it'll all start coming out there, and you'll get the full, I guess,
I could
full
think that
scope
could
of
drive some.
what I think about this whole BS that's going on.
I think that could drive some high engagement, controversial opinions that people will have towards it.
Yeah,
It's,
and again, I never wanted that for our pod, right? I want
yeah,
this is our pod to connect with people, and
yeah.
I never wanted to do any of that sensational bullshit, right? But
Hmm.
if we're going to get into talking about the President's Cup, because again, it's Team International here because there's Canadians on it, right? And I do
Yeah,
follow those guys. Maybe that'll come down the road, but we'll see.
yeah, yeah,
But anyways, back to so you've got your wedges now, and you got your
yeah.
towels. Do you
Uh-huh.
sell the golf bag too?
Yeah, we sell the golf bag, we sell putters, we sell wedges, and we sell towels.
Okay, so let's do some foreshadowing here. So
Uh-huh.
are we going to be getting into the full iron sets? The hybrids, the woods. Are we going to be able to somewhere down the road here get a full bag of Rival golf gear?
Yes. So right now, this is what I'm playing. It's more of a player's iron, but it is our rival prototype series one putter. This is a 6 iron, I believe. So it's
Yeah.
more of a blade, but of course we're gonna come out with cavity back and muscle backs, not just blade forged. But yes, the goal is to have everything for you guys. The goal is to be able to provide. The goal is to be able to make golf more affordable and make it easier for people to replace their golf clubs when they need to replace their golf clubs, so they're not using the same golf clubs for 15 years because it's $600 for a brand new driver.
Yeah.
Right? Like there are people who obviously can afford to replace their driver every 1 or 2 or 3 years, but there's people that love this game, that want to play this game, that want newer updated equipment. And right now at the prices from the major brands and even quite a bit of the DTC brands who think they are able to charge the same amount because for whatever reason they have some name brand recognition. They're not bringing into people in the game of golf. They're not helping people make it easier to replace their wedges or their golf bags or their golf towels or their irons or their drivers, whatever is needed. Our prices are always going to stay 30 to 40% less than the major brands or the major DTC brands because I'm not interested in making a massive profit. I'm interested in growing the game of golf. And it's a
I think
lot easier to grow the game of golf when you can make golf more affordable.
and I think you'll get more people interested in your brand that probably couldn't afford the top end brands, right? They'll go
Absolutely.
and again, as you go down the road, your recognition becomes a higher profile, right?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah, and then we can get good players to if we can get some good players to use our clubs and recognize and realize like, hey, this is just as good as the Callaway or the Cleveland wedge or golf bag. It's just the same quality. And then it kind of branches off from there where you have more where better players will realize that, hey, I'm a .7 index. Okay. I'm decent at this game of golf and I use these things. I wouldn't put a product out there that was a piece of crap, right? They are those brands out there that do sell you golf wedges for $30 or 3 hybrids for $99. This is not that brand. This is a premium quality brand that just makes it affordable for you to be able to purchase your wedges the same quality as the major brands. That's what we are. We're
yeah,
not a cheap golf brand. We are just not overmarking our product so it's easier for you to replace your golf equipment.
so when you're making your clubs now, and do you have a timeline on when like the rest of this line will be available?
No, not
Okay,
really. On,
no,
on everything, no.
no,
So
I get
we've
it.
got like I've got the wedge, I got the irons in testing right now. But it doesn't even mean that we're gonna come out with these players clubs first because that's not really our market right now,
Right,
right? That
right.
eventually it will be, and this is just something that when I go out to golf courses, I would like to be able to use and just kind of promote Rival for myself to the people I'm playing
You
with.
bet.
But we're probably gonna come out with like a muscle back or cavity back or a player's improvement iron first. But we're probably, I would say, our timeline to have all golf equipment is going to be within the next 2 years probably without woods for right now. Woods eventually will get into hybrids and woods and drivers, but that's kind of a totally different animal and takes a whole lot more R&D.
Right, for sure. 100%. I get that. And when your irons and that comes out, are you gonna have the option of, customizing them to the individual golfer as well?
It depends on where we're at that point. So, like right now, our wedges are not customizable. Our wedges come with the stock 110-gram stepless steel shaft. If you get the black wedge, it comes with black. If you get silver wedge, it comes with silver shafts. But the goal is to be customizable.
Right.
That is the goal. We kind of just needed to get our feet off the ground and get it started and get it rolling. But eventually we'll hopefully be able to have people choose whether they want a mid-size grip or a regular grip on our putters, have different putting options, and it'll all be options on our website. But I would say we've got like a 5-year game plan. My 5-year game plan is to be totally customizable and have everything golf equipment ready and available for anybody that wants to purchase anything Rivl. And I think Tacoma is another brand that's kind of big. I think they started in 2019. They've been doing it for 5 years. Our irons are going to be very competitive with their pricing under that $500 range, which I think is a great price for a set of irons, especially when people are using their old clubs or their hand-me-downs and they want a new set of irons. $1,500 is ridiculous. $1,500 plus is ridiculous. Okay. It should be $500 to $700 depending on the type of iron that it's going to be. And I think Tacoma is doing it right. So we kind of look at Tacoma as well and see what they're doing in the market, as well as other DTC brands too.
For sure. All right, pal. Well, this was a great chat. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with, and
Yeah.
stay in touch. We'll maybe down the road when something else pops up, we'll do another get together, and we'll do some work with that. And yeah, man, I all the best to you.
Yeah, appreciate you, brother.
Everything you got there, man, looks fire. I love it. Keep it up, and somewhere down the road we'll hook up again.
Yeah, appreciate you, brother. Thanks for having us on here. Appreciate it a
Hey,
lot.
thank you, Bal. I appreciate
All
your
right.
time.
All right, thanks. You too.